Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Haus Flies Live with White Street Brewing. Myself, David, and I have Sean, my co-host here at Hopcraft and Ale.
Hey guys.
Yeah, we were blown away by the first episode. I mean, everybody that tuned in, thanks a million. The feedback has been really, really good as well. I mean, we've got a really exciting brewery on here tonight in White Street. Sean from White Street is going to be joining us pretty soon. All about wild and mixed fermentation ales and beers. I mean, the man, and credit to him. I mean, it's a really, really brave decision to open a brewery like he's opened. So, I mean, you've got to give this guy a chance. Myself and Sean are already on the beer. We've already cracked open the first beer. So, if you have your beers and you're doing your box tonight, now is probably the time to get them out of the fridge rather than leaving them all freeze to death. So, get them all out of the fridge. Let them get up to kind of the right temperature. We're on the Saison already, okay? So you can crack the Saison. What we're saying with the Saison is it's a Haus Saison. Sip on it. There's no pressure here tonight to drink all 440 ml cans in an hour and a half. We're not doing that. So we're going to do Haus Saison. That's going to be your kind of sip or palate cleanser. So have a sip on it. We're going to have a little bit of chat about it when Sean comes on. Then we're going to move on to the Cashmere IPA. Okay, that's probably the wrong way around. Then I don't have a can of the Monk Stout, but Sean's got a can of the Monk Stout. We're going to move on to the Monk's Island Stout, Belgian Stout. Then you will finish with one or the other. The last beer of the night will be a sour beer. So you'll have two in your box, but you'll crack one of them. You'll crack either Down to Earth mixed fermentation or Peach Berliner Weiss. So that I advise crack one tonight. Maybe have the second one after the show or have it tomorrow night or whatever, you know. It's all about drinking responsibly here. We're not telling people to drink 5 beers in an hour. So I'll throw it on to Sean and he'll give you the lowdown on what's going to probably go. I gave you a little bit there what's going to happen, but Sean might give you a little bit more information about what's coming up on tonight's show.
Yeah, lads, hope everyone's having a good week. Another 9 weeks of severe, hard lockdown ahead of us. We're not even going to talk about that shit. What a load of crap. But also, I do have to apologize for David's scheduling. There is a Munster game on tonight. It's 8 o'clock that he conveniently forgot about. So we'll try and get done by then. Yeah, looking forward to that Munster game. Also, Ireland tomorrow. Surely it should be a really big victory against Italy. I hope I haven't jinxed it there.
Fingers crossed. We can't do any worse than we're doing at the moment. We start losing to Italy, man. I think we'll just all probably just hide under our pillows for a while, you know.
Oh, absolutely. So we've got the White Street's going to be really interesting. I mean, it's one of the unique breweries in Ireland just with that mixed and wild yeast fermentation. But we'll let Sean, also from White Street, so he'll be talking about that. I'm not going to try even get into it. We've got a competition to announce the winner. David will announce that in a bit. But yeah, I mean, look, big weekend of sport as well. Premier League's back. Liverpool is in complete freefall, unfortunately. Jordan Henderson, another injury, Christ. Obviously,
Tiger Woods crashing cars and nearly dying. You know, come on, yeah. That was crazy, back crazy stuff.
Well, he's got such a bad back injury anyway. I don't know how he's actually going to come back from that.
His career's over, man. I think his career's over. I think someone said his knees were like sawdust anyway. I mean, they put a rod into one knee and put screws into the right knee. How can you play golf with 2 busted knees? You know, like at whatever age he is, I think he's done.
And his back. I mean, it's like I almost threw my back out the other day just bending over in the kitchen. And I mean, the amount of power he put into his swing from what he was 3 years old. I mean, that guy was never conditioned at that age. So it's no reason why his body's breaking down.
But touching on the rugby again briefly there before we get away from the rugby, I mean, the French game getting cancelled, the French-Scottish game, that's crazy. I mean, now France again. Okay, it's COVID and all the rest related, but now the Scots will probably have a disadvantage if it gets played next week because all the Premiership players are out of the game.
Yeah, huge. I mean, I really hope that Scotland aren't disadvantaged in it and World Rugby put a stand. But the thing is, Premiership Rugby controls the game. In the French Rugby also have a huge say with Bernard Laporte. So I have a feeling that Scotland's going to come up short there. It's pretty crap. It's actually, it's the same way as the whole COVID thing when Leinster got the the COVID bye against Munster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Munster were in a rich vein of form, and then Leinster pull a sickie and pull out the game.
And on another note, on the Irish out half note, I mean, I think it's interesting that on the week that Johnny Sexton kind of almost let it slip that he's not hanging around, Joey Carberry's on the bench tonight, which is kind of good for for the Irish out half. I mean, I hope he comes through 20 minutes unscathed.
But I actually think that could be a competition we have, is for everyone to guess how many minutes of rugby Joey Carberry will last until he gets injured again. And I really hope he doesn't, because we actually need him. Munster need him, Ireland need him. I mean, I think part of Ireland's problem is, Billy Burns. I just don't understand how he's an answer. I'm not even talking about the kick. I just don't understand how someone who is so far down the pecking order in England can all of a sudden become the second choice.
He gets an nod at Ulster, and he's playing first team. It's a bit like you're playing first team football. You're playing first team rugby. I mean, you got to get a look. You're playing game week in, week out. But then you could argue that John Cooney's not getting the game. He's playing regularly, and
he's been phenomenal for the last couple of seasons.
I think there's an out half jersey for someone for 5 or 10 years, for 5 years if they step up to the plate. Someone has to step up to the plate.
But I mean, like with the whole thing with John Cooney, he must have done something wrong. But the thing is, like, you have Ian Madigan back at Ulster. I mean, I actually think he's a show pony. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he has been in the Ireland jersey before, and now we're bringing in like an English guy to take it ahead of him. I mean, I just don't understand about that.
Anyway, we'll talk about rugby again for another hour probably, and I think we should probably do just a rugby stream and just ranting around about sport, because we've got Sean. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong all night long. I'm just going to call him Sean from White Street. Is it Colin? From White Street on the line here, and we're going to bring him into the room and introduce him. He's waiting patiently, and let him give us a bit of a more interesting talk than the two of us raving about sport. Man United won last night. That's good news. All right. Okay. We bring in Sean.
David, you announce that beer club winner quickly?
Oh yes, quickly. Yeah. Before we bring in Sean, the lads in the Cork Beer Club, they've been very, very good to us. I mean, the Beer House, and Mike Moore, and there's a couple of lads, James Dundon, and a couple of lads, I think Jack Simpson, a couple of lads are kind of admins there. They're doing great work for the Cork beer scene. I mean, promoting craft beer and Cork bars and off licenses. And we just said, look, give something back to them, So we have a White Street Beer Box, and we had an online competition on their Facebook group. And Mike Moore, one of the guys there, has given me the name. And the winner is, and he has to be listening, is Donald Goggin. So Donald Goggin, you're the lucky winner. You can collect your prize at the Beer House. And if you're within 10 Ks of the Beer House, I'll drop it to your house. If you want to send us a message with your address, we'll even do that for you. If you don't want to go outside your 5K. Okay, we'll bring Sean in. We're going to have great fun with the Seans tonight. All right. Sean, welcome. Hopefully this broadband will hold up.
Can we all hear each other? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, we should probably mention that before we came on air, we had a bit of a panic situation, and I don't know what was going on. There was gremlins everywhere. So look, if the broadcast shuts down for some reason, everybody starts freezing. If Sean Hapcraft and Neil starts freezing, I'll try and take over, and vice versa. And if the two of us freeze, Sean from White Street probably.
My God, then.
He'll just take over, He'll just talk.
1 hour of White Street, then. Yeah. I was worried I was on the wrong stream there when you were talking with the 10-minute fucking rugby intro.
We always like to try and talk a bit about sport beforehand.
The question is, like, are you? Because I mean, Longford's kind of in the middle of nowhere. But I mean, do you associate yourself with Leinster, like Ulster? Like, where does your loyalty lie? Connacht?
My loyalty is Leinster because Longford is in Leinster.
I knew you were going to say that, but I mean, really,
there's a lot of lads who are from Ballymahan, and I see them wandering around town with their Munster jerseys on, and I hope Sean Carey is watching this.
There's nothing wrong with that. They're the old bandwagoners back from the old six.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, they never got off the bandwagon.
Are Leinster any good these days? I don't watch rugby, lads, so I don't know the crowd.
Yeah, they are. They're still top dogs, man. Munster getting quite closer every year. Anyway,
that's
Sean,
just me being cold.
We tried to stop talking about rugby there, so we brought you on to talk about beer. we have the saison cracked open. I think most people at this age have got the saison cracked open. Do you want to run through the saison and give us a quick lowdown on the saison we're all drinking?
Yeah, the Haus saison is it's the beer we want to make our kind of number one beer and keep that all year round. Just clean and simple, fermented with Bell saison, Pilsner malt, Saz hops, and the kind of session beer we need.
Yeah, I suggested earlier we using the palate cleanser tonight, maybe between beers.
Yeah, perfect example of it.
Yeah. Oh, it's just clean, crisp. I made a point there recently to somebody. I was having a beer. I was just looking at what fridges we had at the moment. And I think this year, like you could argue last year was the year of the sour. Is that a good argument? Like you could say last year was the year of the sour beer. There was so many sours released by all the Irish breweries. I think this year is the year of the pastry stout, or the pastry imperial stout. There's just every beer seems to be a pastry this, pastry that. There's nothing wrong with a straight up version of the beer, like a good, well made that beer, a clean saison, no grapefruits. No orange peels, no clementines. Just this is a classic style. Let's not mess around with it.
Malt what? Malt hops, water, and yeast. Like it's
I mean the same. Like an imperial stout. I got an imperial stout off Anton on the Abbot Ale House. I must say thanks for that. The Porterhouse Imperial Stout, 10-year-old bottle, real gem bottle, back from 1998. I think it was 2008, the 10-year anniversary. But just a clean up. Unmessed around with Imperial Stout, and my God, it was delicious. Okay, we'll jump in, Sean, and ask you just to introduce yourself and the brewery. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you're about, what your background is, and tell us a little bit about White Street.
Yeah, we'll start off about White Street. I don't think anyone cares about me, so.
You're interesting as well.
No, but grew up in Ballymahon, and we opened a brewery in Ballymahon. Actually, directly across the road from the house I grew up in, we have the brewery there, so I still get dinners delivered from the mother the odd time.
What's sorry to interrupt? What's the crack with the White Street name? Is that something to do with the name of the street?
Yeah, Ballymahon is supposedly one of Ireland's widest streets.
Hang on a second now. You've got the widest street. I think Sean, Top Captain Ale, you Google this. It's contentious, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think
I was always under the impression that Monaghan had the widest street, but it's actually
Monaghan. Monaghan never even fucking came into it.
But they're in the north.
Yeah.
Are they in the north?
I think it was Roski. I think it was Roski or something. Some of the Roscommon heads tried to fucking blend.
Sean, White Street, forget about the white. It's all about length. It's everything. Like we've got the longest street in Ireland here in Blarney Street in Cork. I mean, when it comes to everything, it's all about length, isn't it?
Well, then you can open the longest street brewing company.
I'm not saying not even streets. I mean, when it comes down to everything, I mean, length is important.
That's a different podcast.
If you were in America and you were buying a hot dog, you'd want a long hot dog, not a wide hot dog.
No, I fucking the shorter ones. It needs to fit. It needs to fit the bun.
But I mean,
so we interrupted you there about telling us about White Street. Tell us why the brave decision to go down the wild route, wild fermentation and wild beers and mixed fermentation.
Yeah, they're the beers I kind of started off as a home brewer, and I was home brewing for about 5 years, and they're the beers I love brewing. So like every time we try and use as many yeast strains as possible, as many Saccharomyces strains, and you're making lagers, you're making PLLs, you're making IPAs, you're making Hefeweizen, you're doing all this, and then somebody says, there's this thing called Brettanomyces that if you use it, then you're going to ruin everything, and everything's fucked. But if somebody says something like that to me, that's the kind of stuff that I want to start doing. It's like, there's a deeper, darker way to brew.
I think you kind of you mirror what I'm doing. Like, I mean, I opened the bar to serve good beer because I love good beer. I didn't open a bar just to sell pints of Guinness and pints of anything,
Exactly,
You open White Street because you enjoy what you do. And I think job satisfaction is massive. Like, imagine you go to work every day and you're brewing beer on a commercial scale like you were a home brewer and you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
It would be very easy for you to open a brewery and just pump out the regular IPA, stout. Well, what's the other style? An Irish red, very easy to do.
Yeah, but there's always someone with a better setup and more equipped. Like if I wanted to brew an IPA, and we do have an IPA, and we'll get to that later on. but I'll tell you more about that. But there's people that have proper systems for brewing IPAs, but not everybody has kind of proper systems for brewing sour beer, or not everybody wants to introduce live lactobacillus into their system, or Brettanomyces
And how
or
does that
sour.
manage? How do you manage that? How do you manage that without, say, is there a bit of management of the yeast strains and containing it and something? I'm in completely layman now when I'm talking about this. I don't really know the yeast. Like how do you say you're brewing your saison with one yeast strain? How do you obviously you've got to watch your tanks afterwards thoroughly. But how do you stop that saison, say, infecting your pilsner? Or are you brewing,
Caustic and peracetic acid.
there must be a hell of a lot more cleaning in your place than a regular brewery, isn't there? Well, I saw your floors. I saw your floors this evening, man.
No, but it's these things. Brettanomyces is still just a yeast strain. It can be cleaned. If you're cleaning properly, then it should be just as easily cleaned as everything else.
Okay.
But we have separate pumps and separate lines for the Brettanomyces beers and sour beers than we do the IPA.
There is a bit of management more so than a regular brewery. Okay. That's what we kind of get.
Like, just to come into that, I mean, I was going to ask you about the yeast and stuff, and you mentioned IPA, so it's probably time to bring that on. The cashmere. Actually, I was introduced to this last year. I didn't realize that you guys are only around for, 2 years now?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we should be cracking the cashmere now. Everybody should probably just put their saison to one side and crack open their cashmere. Oh, straight from the can, old school.
I mean, what I actually thought about the cashmere when when you hear cashmere, you immediately think of that sweater, something really smooth. And I went back the next day. This was like last summer during lockdown, and I got another one from Dave. And it really is. It was my first oat IPA. And then towards the end of last year, I started seeing a whole bunch of oat IPAs throughout Ireland from other breweries. So I mean, credits, good.
I don't think I was the first one to put oats in an IPA, but it is probably the first can-conditioned IPA you've ever had.
And is there any bit of funk in this cashmere? Is it just straight up IPA, or is there
No, it's 50-50.
You're all about the funk and the wild and everything.
No, there's no Brettanomyces, no.
Just clean Citra cashmere.
Yeah, just can-conditioned. US05, and it's actually 50-50 Citra and cashmere. Citra is in there too, but everybody else calls their beer Citra. I wanted to call it cashmere.
Yeah, and just as good as I thought last year.
We're probably gonna have a bit of a competition as well tonight. I think you gave me a question earlier in the week, Sean. We might as well throw that question out there, and people can enter that competition. Something about the statue on your main street. What was it again?
Oh yeah, Ballymahan is famous for a poet, and there is a statue of that poet on the main street outside the library. Who is that poet?
So get on Google there and Google away. Put your answer in the comment box. Get your answer on the comment box. It's not fastest fingers or anything like that. We're gonna take everyone's name and basically throw them in a hat, old school, and pull out a name. Or maybe if we like it, we win. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe if you're good looking, or I don't know. We'll figure out some system anyway.
How do people pick the winners on competitions when they advertise them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that?
I don't know. They say random number generators, and you know what? I
scroll around to someone they know.
I put my hand up. I've had some weird methodology for picking the winners. It's been kind of like active, up and down, kind of going wherever the finger stops. The hell with that. So we're gonna. I think Sean's gonna give us a T-shirt. We're gonna throw probably something in from the beer house as well. We'll throw a couple of beers at it as well. We'll throw a nice little box together from the beer house and from White Street. So simple competition to enter that. So do you want to talk us through the cashmere a small bit before we touch on the cashmere?
Yeah, cashmere can conditioned, fermented with US05, 50%. It's kind of whirlpooled with cashmere and citra, and then dry hopped with at 15 grams per liter in total, I think. Combination of citra and cashmere.
Yeah. Anyone with any questions for more specifically Sean from White Street, just pop them in the comments there, and Sean at Captain Warcraft and Ale will pick them up and maybe even flash them up on the screen there. Don't ask us any questions; we don't have the answers. Ask me something about sport or about the beer house or something.
But I mean,
You know about sports? You're talking about rugby all evening there.
Yeah, we just have to go back to the rugby. We'll go back to the rugby.
I did hear a rumor though, Sean. Apparently, you represented Longford in hurling.
I did represent Longford in hurling, but at an underage. I think between the ages of 12 and 18, I was okay, and then it went slowly downhill from there on in.
Did you guys play Cork, or were you only in the same sort of league as Leitrim?
Unfortunately, we never got to play Cork. I'd say if we did get to play them, we probably would have handed them their arses. But
whoa,
whoa. I'd say no. You probably would have just probably. I thought you were going to say hand them the game.
we were in the C Championship. I don't think Cork's 5th division team was even in the C Championship.
That's not the way it works, because Cork begins with C means you're in the C Championship.
So we've
another question here for Sean. I suppose we touched on the brewery, the name, and you gave us a little bit about the brewery. What would be your greatest achievement, say personally, and your greatest, I suppose, business achievement? And follow on from that then would be kind of what I'm probably going to get out of you. What beer at the moment are you most proud of? So kind of a 3-part question: personal achievement, business achievement, and what beer you're most proud of that you produced.
Personal achievement and business achievement.
Well, you can link both of them, if you want.
Yeah, well, that's opening a fucking brewery that's trying to sell 100% Brettanomyces beers and mixed fermentation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in fairness, we're trying to progress the core range with the IPA and Haus and stuff like that. But it's setting up a brewery in Ballyman, like that's a thing in itself.
Was there any breweries in Longford? Was St. Mel's around?
Yeah, St. Mel's. The lads in St. Mel's were good help too. Like that, and I went to school. With Owen from St. Mel's, so
okay,
it was a good help.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness to you, I mean, you get your beer out. I mean, I know you get your beer down to Cork, and you get your beer obviously Dublin, places like that, and obviously in around Ballyman, you've got a good following. I mean, there's a lot of breweries, I would say, further up the country. We just don't see their beer. Now, they're not. It's probably down to distribution as well. But I mean, and I suppose it's probably down to the fact that I get sours. They'll chase you anyway. They really don't have to chase me. But I mean, I see your beer around the place down in Cork a lot, which is good to see.
Oh, but Cork has been good to us
when
it comes to sour beers and saisons and stuff like that. So we need to keep in touch with the people who are drinking the stuff. So we need to. Yeah, and it's a trek from Ballyman down to Cork, though.
Yeah. Well, the days of making a weekend of it are probably gone,
Exactly, yeah. The last time we went down to you, we dropped off with you, dropped off with Anton, a couple of other spots, and then it was back home. It was like, I was saying at the Carla too, it was like, Jesus, we can't even fucking stay tonight and have the crack tonight. Like,
you should have given me a show. I could have given you the keys of the bar, given you a couple of sleeping bags, sleep on the floor,
Yeah, when you say that, it was time.
It'd probably be not over. Sean, I'll put it back to Sean there. Sean, have you want to try him there?
It's actually a question from Shane, just on he was really stoked with the 15 grams per litre, but it was, is it 50-50 from the dry hop? I think that was the question.
Yeah, between Whirlpool and dry hop. So in total.
Yeah, that was a dry hop 50-52. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose we could probably at this stage, if everybody's kind of halfway through their cashmere at this stage, I mean, you can. I mean, I haven't even touched it, but I'm missing the Monk Stout, so I don't have one of those, so you can skip ahead.
Monksland Stout. It's named after a section of Athlone.
Okay.
We've got
I just wanted a correction on that.
That was a very clever name, Monk's Stout. So it's actually got an Athlone connection. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, Monksland is a part of Athlone, but we called it Monksland because we wanted to brew a normal stout. I didn't want to go heavy on the roast, so we went more chocolate malt forward.
It was my first. This is what made me discover what a dry stout is. I wasn't aware of it, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we used the Belgian Trappist yeast to ferment it with, so That's the
right.
kind of
And
Belgian take, man.
and and there's another bit of dirty info that we need to get out there about you besides your herding expert. You are Arsenal.
Yeah.
What was that, Sean? Sorry.
You're an Arsenal supporter.
I am indeed, and I'm a proud Arsenal supporter.
That's good. Unfortunately, David's a mank. There's not much hope for him. He was just one of the supporters that followed on the bandwagon when Ferguson had a good run. So yeah,
Completely incorrect.
And I have some good friends. I think Robert Flynn won't mind me mentioning him because he's nonstop talking about Manchester United and what how good they've been over the last year or two, and the serious record that they have under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but they haven't won a fucking thing.
I think we got ahead of ourselves this month, but didn't we really did
and they won't be winning anything anytime soon.
For a while. Well, what I'm trying to guess in what stage you're at there, because I'm sipping on my one because I don't have a monk out in front of me. Because believe it or not, Sean, I tell you this: the demand we sold your beer as a beer box through our website and through the bar, and I thought we'll sell 6 or 7 and I'm lucky. So I bought a case of 12 of everything. I scoured the whole of Cork City to get beer because we sold 15 boxes. Cork likes you.
Yeah, and we're always happy to get on there. In fairness.
I mean, I was blown away. I mean, the lads in the Cork Beer Club, and I mean, even good beer house regulars. There's a couple of them tuned in as well outside of that. I mean, to sell 15 boxes. I mean, I said I was only talking. Up next is in 2 weeks' time is Rascal, and I was talking to them. I was like, I probably have to order 24 beers. And I'll probably sell 6 next time around, but I don't care. It'll save me the trip around Cork looking for the beer.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to go, Dave. You were searching the other day, though.
I cleaned out Maston's, Haus, Peach Berliner, and the third one, what was it? The Cashmere. We just didn't have enough to make up the box. So
that's it. Like we advertise ourselves as wild and mixed fermentation, but then those beers were taking so long to make in the beginning. I was kind of sitting around there most times thinking, Jesus, we can fucking utilize our time a little bit more efficiently by having a core range of beer as well.
Yeah,
which is also saison, but also kind of alternative fermentation. So with the stout, that's why we went with the Belgian Trappist yeast for fermentation on stout. I didn't see anyone that had it done before, even the fucking monks themselves. So,
but I'd say it's important to have a core range. That'll get your foot in the door sometimes. If you went in and you said, I have a Peach Berliner, I have a mixed down to earth mixed fermentation. I have a saison, and the first question you probably get asked is, have you got a stout? Have you got an IPA? Have you got a Pils or a lager? You go, no. They go, on your bike. So
we're not Cloudwater. Like, we can't just be one-offs.
Yeah.
But I mean,
eventually maybe we will.
Talking about going forward, you guys you've got like a whole bunch of barrels in, so you're doing a whole barrel age series coming towards the end of the year, aren't you?
Yeah. When we started off, our big plans were to be primarily fermented in barrels and everything kind of mixed fermentation from barrels, but that's only starting to happen now. So
Dave McHugh there just commented he's telling us to slow down. He wants to sip his beers. He's probably he's drinking with the young kids tonight. He's drinking with the lads that don't get out anymore. Like myself. This is my night out.
I think Carla's comments is better. Cork is thirsty. I mean, yeah, well done, lady. That's right.
So Sean, you've asked a few questions there. I mean, we did a thing last week with Ronan, Sean from White Street. You probably saw it. It was a quick fire 10 questions.
I did. I saw it. Yeah.
You can choose to go for it, or you can choose to say no to it.
Go on, I'll go for it.
All right, you go for it. There's no prize at the end of it now. All right, there might be a beer house sour fest t-shirt.
Can I have at least one bottle from that small sour fridge that used to be on the counter down in the beer house next time I'm done?
If you answer the 10 of them, no pauses. My co-host has a stopwatch, so there's no blinking. It's basically you're going to be asked a question. It's going to be a black or white answer.
Go on,
We'll play good tonight. All right.
Bit of a delay there, though.
Your first question, I'm kind of freezing up a small bit. You can hear me now.
Yeah, you're freezing there, so I'm worried about this quick fire thing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do the questions. I might try and start up my feed after that. Sour or saison?
Saison.
We're talking whiskey, Scotch or Irish?
What was the other option apart from Irish?
Scotch.
Scotch.
Scotch or Irish whiskey?
Scotch.
Okay. We're talking stout, Guinness or Beamish?
Beamish.
Good man. Is your glass always half full or is it half empty?
These days, half empty.
Okay. Cork or Dublin?
Cork or who?
Or Dublin?
Cork.
Ah, good man. We'll keep you, sir. We're talking holidays. Would you go to the snow or would you go to the sun?
I can't hear you.
Snow or sun?
Sun.
Frank Sinatra or Metallica?
Probably Sinatra.
Exactly. Now these are the awkward ones. You got through the easy ones. All right. Ass or boobs?
Ass or what?
Ass or boobs?
Ass or boobs?
Yeah.
Jesus, lads.
That's a drink. Come on, that is the instant
Break. All right, we'll move on. Rugby or GA?
Yeah.
Okay. And the last question: Michael Jackson or Gary Bishop?
Beer and Michael Jackson.
All right, you dodged it.
That last show.
I'm going to take myself back briefly and try and.
All right, you only have one penalty there, so that's not too bad. You've got a couple of GA boys in the chat room, so that's all good. So I mean, what brought the whole thing? Like, I mean, what type of beer? Was there a gap in the market? I mean, you look at another brewery like Whiplash, who literally roll out big, bold, juicy IPAs. Did you see a gap? It was just like the fact that you enjoy the yeast.
No, I didn't see a gap. It's just something that we were passionate about and wanted to pursue ourselves. And Whiplash, you can't probably outdo Whiplash when it comes to making IPAs. They have all the bells and whistles when it comes to making IPAs.
Yeah. For sure.
Although I think our can conditioned cashmere probably has a longer shelf date than most of the Whiplash beers. Not to take a shit on Whiplash.
And is there? No, I mean, look, I think I love that, and I think it's like almost an easy drinkable beer, no matter what time of the day you want to have it. Have you got any? I mean, I know you're going to do some barrel aged stuff. Have you got plans to like crank up any of these things? Like maybe get some 8-9% out there.
Yeah, I think next Christmas we're probably going to see about 4 or 5 different styles from us. We have Chardonnay barrels coming in. We already have the bourbon barrels, and between Imperial Stouts and some heavier barrel-aged saisons, and we have a cool ship as well. So we should have some cool ship saison or proper cool ship beers too by 2 or 3 years time. So we're planning ahead.
That's good.
Sean, South Africa, can you leave your second stream? You've got a second stream open there, and I could be slowing the whole thing down.
Yeah.
Mind you. You've got a second stream open there. You're on twice there, so I think it's giving a bit of feedback, and it's actually slowing everything down. Yeah, I think that's much better. That could be one of the reasons why we're getting feedback, and because I'm back. That could be the issue. Okay. So you kind of touched on future plans. We'll bring in. I think we have Leanne and Ashton. We don't. I'll see. Can I get them? Click the link there.
Sorry, I missed that. Was there a question there, David?
No. I think we touched on the future plans there, but I was frozen. And I'm frozen again. This has become a disaster.
Kind of in and out of freezing.
Yeah, gremlins. But I mean, I suppose people can hear me. That's the main thing. They don't see me moving. Just pretend I don't move. So you mean you got through all your questions? I mean, I had to throw it at you. I mean, we touched on your future plans. I mean, where do you see Mike Street in say 2 years, 3 years, 5 years time?
Where do we see the brewery in 3 to 4 or 5 years time?
Yeah, I mean, what's the next step for you?
I mean, we were only open less than a year, and then COVID kicked in, so we had to kind of we were relying on our local market for all the beers that we were making. We were putting stuff in kegs, and it was going into our local pub, and our friends were drinking it, and everything was selling. We were doing well, and then we had to kind of readjust again.
Okay.
When COVID kicked in.
At one point, you were very draft orientated up there for the local market, yeah? You basically had to shift, right, yeah? Okay.
And then we shifted. And then we kind of had to, all the stuff that we were putting in cans, everything, or the stuff we were putting in kegs, everything had to go into cans.
Okay.
Kind of shift.
A lot of breweries found themselves in the same boat. I mean, I suppose breweries that were set up for packaging, and packaging was a big thing. They didn't really have to kind of adjust themselves, but breweries that were very keg orientated got themselves into kind of an overnight, basically, had to act, with beer and tanks.
Yeah, that's it. But you need to find, if you have one pub that can sell the majority of your stuff, then if that pub is gone, then you need to find a lot of shops around the country to take up the slack with cans.
Yeah, that must have been a whole big impact. All of a sudden lockdown arrives, and you're trying to get eggs out. But next thing, you have to can it.
Yeah.
I think we saw that down here with our virtual stores, but we saw that down here with a couple other lads, like Elbow Lane. It's a really good steakhouse on Oliver Plunk. Yeah, Oliver Plunk Street.
They have their own brewery there too. Yeah.
Yeah, but next thing, they're closed. They're not selling this stuff. So where are you supposed to buy the stuff? I mean, it's hard, especially for the smaller guys. I'm sure the big conglomerates can take the hit, but I mean, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Right,
we've got a bit of a technical. We've got a technical issue here, lads. I think all our 3 screens are frozen at the moment, so I think we should probably just end the broadcast briefly and come straight back on and see if we've got a feed then. All right. So anybody who's watching, we're going to try and just end the broadcast. Oh, hang on, we're moving again. I think for some reason we're moving. So
anyone who's watching, if we lose the 2 Cork lads, I'm taking over. So.
Oh, you're welcome to it, man. We're struggling.
I guess now.
Yeah. Dave, Jordan and I are fine. I think it's you.
Yeah, it's
Dave's
all over the place. So we've got Leon and Ashley anyway. We have a section this week to explain to yourself, Sean White Street. We've got a section we're calling it the virtual bar stool. Well, we renamed it virtual hot stool. Make it more interesting. So we've got a couple this week, and they're into their sour beers as well. So we've got Leon and Ashley, and 2 good beer house regulars here. Hi guys.
Hello guys.
I mean, we better get our 6 words in before the streams now start freezing again. It's pretty bad here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm getting the jugs out.
Well,
Jugs are out, yeah.
Who jugs out? I mean, your jugs.
Jugs out, guys. Jugs out.
How big are your jugs?
My jugs are, well, I have
Well,
one very
my jugs are bigger than yours. And you can't see my jugs. My jugs are frozen. But my jugs are bigger. Here. We went on Tour de Goose, and I got a big jug, and you got a small jug, didn't you?
Yeah. You took the only big jug going, yeah?
That was a year earlier.
Jugs. You love jugs.
We're gonna jump off for a second in the broadcast, lads, and try and come back in again because this is a disaster. Okay, so give us 2 minutes and we'll see can we get the gremlin fixed. Yeah, we're probably all still here while my computer seems to be frozen.
Is the stream stopped?
No, we're still here. So check between yourselves there.
Still on air.
Oh my God,
Let's
dead
go
air.
crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you know? No dead air.
Yeah. This is from hero. This is like from hero to zero. Last week was really good because we didn't have the we just put it this way, we didn't have any technical issues with broadband, and the show was brilliant. So this week it's all about broadband. Tell us, lads, what are you doing? Are you working from home, 2 of you? What are you doing? Or is it COVID affecting you? We're not talking too much COVID.
We're actually in the office at home at the moment. That's why there's house plants and stuff, So yeah, both of us are working from home. So it's COVID has just been very isolating for us, really. So it's just us two
boring.
and the cat.
If it wasn't for that.
How many times did you guys try to get married?
2 times.
We're on the third date now. So.
Yeah, the third date. And
You've dodged 2 bullets at this stage.
you say that, yeah?
Yeah, well, 3 strikes, I'd say, and you could be out as well, yeah?
Either 3 strikes are out or 3 strikes, third time lucky. Yeah, so I mean, look, the reason we got you guys on is actually because you guys are big sourheads. I'm still trying to find my sour wings, so. I mean, I think this is probably your week, and with Sean, it's probably ties in nicely. So I mean, what are you guys drinking at the moment?
Well,
Well, I'm having one of my favorites, a puka, the pink puka, from White Hag. It's really nice.
I have the heather sour, the infamous heather sour that turned a lot of Irish people into sour heads at the start. That was their sort of light bulb moment. Definitely for her.
We actually we met at Electric Picnic. We had our first proper date in the beer house, and I wasn't really a big beer drinker at the time. And when I met Leon in there, and he was drinking this strange murky-looking brown liquid, and I was like, "What's that?" And he said, "Oh, have a taste." And I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And it was just, I fell in love that day with the beer.
With the beer. But it was heather sour, and it was like beer tastes like this.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what is this?
Yeah. And then I think, like you mentioned, the summer of there, I think that was, what year was that? 2015. And I think 2 years after that, there was just towers from everywhere. Yellow Belly had quite a few nice ones.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like two screens there going? There seems to be a lot of feedback coming on.
No, we don't.
Okay, no worries. It might just be us. So let's. Did you guys miss the memo of live stream?
Say that again?
Did you guys miss the memo about the Wild Streets events?
A bit, it would seem. A bit. My favorite one of when I had it first was the Down to Air. I remember having that, and I think that was the first one of the wide streets I had, and I was like, good.
I think they have it. I think you can get growlers of it from Beer House now. He should have it.
Yeah,
he has it on growler, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
But that was the first one that I had, and I had the Brett Saison, the EKG as well.
Yeah, that was our first ever beer.
That was your first ever beer.
Yeah.
That was for a first go. It's not too bad, but that's not
First
too
ever
bad.
beer is a Brett Saison.
Yeah, like the Haus Saison, I really liked as well, and even the Wild Table.
Wild Table, yeah. We tried to make a kind of a more sessionable version of all those beers and use some house.
I really enjoyed that as well. Really low ABV, like over 4%.
Yeah, we tried to design things for the summer like Peach Berliner, but they end up coming out in the winter because we just need to age them so long and time it badly.
Yeah, like definitely I enjoyed it. That was very sessionable, very functional, that one. Like
Nice one, thanks, yeah.
I remember having it more than one day and it disappearing, and I really enjoyed it. Like,
No, but the Wild Table you could drink all day, you'd be all right. Like,
yeah, exactly. That was it. It was a slightly warm day. We'll not talk about Irish days being warm, but it was
Perfect festival beer.
Perfect festival beer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So let's come back to like the what we're here for. I've actually cracked open my Peach Berliner. Don't know if anyone can see that. So tell us a little about this. I actually laughed because you responded to me on Instagram there. It just reminded, like, it is, it's just quite peachy. You couldn't think of another description. It kind of hits the spot.
Yeah, and also with the label, we kind of went down a different route. Usually we're a little bit darker. So with the label, a friend of mine, he's my brother's friend. He does stuff for Doctor Who and stuff like that. He's like a proper label designer. His name is on the label too, like so. He lives in San Diego. He was like, I really want to get some beers on my portfolio. Would you be interested in having me design something for you? So maybe we needed a little bit of color in our portfolio too, like so. With Don Cooper,
I think
we're happy with.
I think can work is definitely a way up for not only like artists or anyone out there. It's such an interesting avenue, like for like a brewery to adopt a specific thing, and then that becomes their theme. Or it be a specific color or a specific style, like is it a photo? But I think that's one of the best things if you think about like a craft beer market. If you look at if you go into a craft beer bar and you look at a fridge and it's as colorful as fuck. If you were on acid or something, shrooms or anything like that, you would be tripping balls.
Which we never would be.
No, we would never be doing that.
But sometimes there can be too much color, and we try and tone it down a little bit with most of our beers. And I think my inner design is always darker. I want something that kind of sits in the background more so than stands out in the foreground, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at it, if you look at these cans, you can see from a mile away that they're Wild Street cans. The logo is great, very well designed. But so Leon, actually, do you have any questions for everyone being the big sour heads that you guys are?
You mentioned Aisling is she's a big sour head, and that's what we there. Some of the are you doing any imperial sours or anything like that? Will you have any very heavy sours?
Yeah, at the minute we don't. What we're going to do is with the barrels that we have, we're going to wear them down with imperial stouts, and then kind of future plans are to sour in them after we suck the whiskey out of them, basically.
Yeah.
That stuff is coming. We're going to have some kind of Chardonnay type Saison sour type stuff coming out over the next year or two.
Nice. That sounds good. Was what was the Silver Branch from White Hag also had Chardonnay as well, and it was just it just turned into a completely different beer.
You can't beat Chardonnay now.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm kind of back, but I'm kind of still frozen. So for now, I'm moving slowly.
You're back there.
I might just get off the screen for the evening. It seems to work okay when you lads are on your own through my computer. So,
Aisling and Leon, there's a question about the mustache.
Okay.
Does it tickle?
It can tickle sometimes, yes.
Surely.
Was that did Ronan ask that? Ronan, was that you?
Yeah. Surely in lockdown, Fanula could have answered that question for you as well. I imagine you didn't shave for a long time also.
You're probably going out so long you don't bother shifting anymore anyway. So.
That's it.
You saw it. But on a similar sort of question, I don't know if you guys heard this week, but like Gwyneth Paltrow, it was last year that she brought out her vagina scented candle, right?
Right.
And the thing exploded. It exploded this week. So Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina exploded all over a person's apartment. So the question is actually more directed to Sean. Would you ever aim for a beer that tasted like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina?
Well, if I was to think of a beer being Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina, I would think it's very weak. I think it's very thin, and I would not be interested in all. It would be the lamest lager going, and I have like a really smell off, you know. It would be just pale color, you know. Ugh, it was horrible. So no, I wouldn't go for that beer.
I couldn't believe that. I don't know why you would ever come up with something like that. Why would you ever want the set?
Disgusting.
Yeah,
Are these questions that are coming in from people online or what?
this is just him. This is just him and his weird mind.
It's his mind.
I mean, I don't know what it's. I just have Brendan Swell views on brews. He just walked in at the wrong time. So, I think we've got David back now.
You did walked in on that question.
Yeah, I'm back on my phone because my laptop is just frozen. I think I've got too many tabs open or something.
Hey, you're looking smooth there now on the phone.
Dig on yourself. I can't show you pictures of it. So you're escaping this.
I think the problems are all on your side, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I plan that Sean added for the rest of the although
Have you got Alan?
Two of you are going to have to do it from the pub in future, side by side. So there's only one laptop on your end. Or
Yeah.
Okay, someone do it.
Yeah.
Pre-record.
You know, it seems that like a couple of people just stepped in at that point in time about the conversation about the candle. Yeah, we do apologize. We were talking about beer before, I promise.
That was
Watch
all
it
you.
should have a little banner coming across the bottom saying, "Please watch this back later on."
Okay, so to bring it back, let's bring it back. Okay, so Ronan Russell, I don't know, have you met Ronan, Sean?
No, I never met him, but I know his name from within the brewing industry. Yeah.
Yeah. So what Ronan wants to know is how much peat went in per liter.
How much?
Peat.
Peach. 100 kilos of peach. 100 kilos of peach, I think, in 750 liters of beer. So whatever 100 kilos of peach is towards 750 liters.
I know that they did a Durg. I'm going to pronounce that name really wrong, but basically it was like a blood orange ale, and they flooded the stuff with grapefruit. So I think that's probably along the lines of like where Ronan's going.
Yeah. We went a bit. I thought we went heavy on it because fruit's expensive, but also we were using Brettanomyces and live lactobacillus in the beer too, and we wanted it to re-ferment for about 4 or 5 months on the fruit too. So, like, we weren't just adding puree and then fermenting it with USO5 and then moving on.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was actually a wonder we had. Dave and I were talking last night about if like breweries are turning out like a hell of a lot of products, whether they're putting in like a little bit of an artificial something, just to get that additional flavor. We're talking about pastry stuff and like but I don't know the back end of the stuff. So I mean,
I think it's easier for other people to kind of do that stuff than the way we kind of make our beers as well. Like most of our primary fermentation is, our first beer was probably 6 months, and then can condition for another few months too. Like so, but even now when we're doing sours, we're still primary fermentation for a year, up to a year, when we're only 2 years open, so we have to release something like. But then re-fermenting it on fruit for 4 and 5 months, and then you have to can condition. So we're can conditioning after kind of filtration, so that's another month on top of that as well. Like, so it's not a kettle sour. You can turn around a fruited sour in 2 weeks if you have if you're able to force carbonate and use whatever kind of fucking fruits that these people are using, like vanilla.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, like, I don't know. There's something about a pastry style that has like a specific flavor. I don't know what it is, but it's a taste.
Vanilla and lactose in shitloads.
Yeah.
All the things I hate.
Like,
vanilla and fucking lactose.
Yeah. It's kind of like musty or something. Something just like smells, like tastes off to me. It's not quite, there's something wrong.
That's a vanilla lactose combo, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, cheers to you, John Sancho. Like, you solved my mystery there.
Into the bin with vanilla and lactose, like.
Okay, so we got a question here from Brendan Swell. Views on brews. I think he is a bit of a connoisseur. So what's everyone drinking? Why Street? What's going in them barrels, Sean? So I think he wants to, you did mention this, but maybe just, like, what's the aim?
We're going to start off with Russian Imperial Stouts in the bourbon barrels.
Oh.
And in the Chardonnay barrels, we're going to have some cool ship Saison.
Very good. And percentage, like, what is that? Russian Imperial, what are we looking at? Where's the goal?
I should have taken a picture earlier on of the malt bill. There was a couple of people in the brewery that were buying enough beer to make it legal to take away. But I was showing them the amount of malt that goes into a pale ale compared to the amount of malt that goes into a Russian Imperial Stout. I was like five to 6 times the malt that goes into that simple little pale ale. So we're looking at 4 to 5 mashes for the same amount of liquid.
Oh yeah, jeez. So it's like, but I mean that's what if I'm having a stout, I really want that stout to be nice and viscous, thick. I don't want like a thin stout. I want it like almost be spoiled, but like drinking like almost like a milkshake. It's my
I want to do it right too. I want to make a big, thick, syrupy whiskey animal without vanilla, without peach, without whatever adjuncts other people are putting into their stouts too. Like, keep it to the base.
Yep. We've got another question from Thomas Carroll. Any Flanders Red coming out?
Don't know if we could call it Flanders Red because I think you need to be in Flanders.
Ooh,
apart from that, we'll probably have a. I'm not sure.
I think it is a protected style, yeah.
It could be, yeah. So we'll have a sour red, but maybe we can't call it Flanders.
Flanders, yeah.
No, right. Ronan was asking about 5 mashes. Is that like what's going on there?
We're looking at 4.
4? So yeah. What's the one beer style that you will never brew?
I would never brew a milkshake stout. I would never brew a milkshake anything.
Does that go back to the vanilla lactose thing?
Yeah. No vanilla stouts, no milkshake, this, that. No.
I had a beer last night and it was called Marshmallow Sprinkles. I picked it up from the fridge because I was thinking that it was a stout, right? It was like 9:30. I was thinking, right, ABF, you're absolute fine. And I poured it, and I got such a surprise when it turned that golden beer color because I was like really expecting a stout, but it was an IPA. I was blown away. Why would you have a marshmallow sprinkle stout? I mean, surprisingly, it wasn't that bad, but
I think that shit is more popular in America, is it not?
Yeah,
kind of Fruit Loop.
I mean,
Fruit Loop porters.
I mean, I must say, like, we don't get enough American beers across here. But I mean, I think it's. Sorry, Sean. Carry on.
No, I wasn't trying to cut across you. It's I think it's not that we don't get enough American beers across here. I think a lot of Irish breweries are doing their best to kind of replicate what's happening in America as well. So we're seeing kind of
Yeah.
small takes on it.
I mean, I think America is probably really big with their IPAs. That's high volume stuff. I don't think I haven't been there long, but they've got a couple of high imperial stouts. I mean, that one brewery, the Brewing. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. I haven't been to the brewery, but I know the one you're talking about. Is that the rare barrel as well? Are they the same thing? No, the brewery and the rare barrel. Are they two different things?
No, I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but I think we've got Dave back. There's fluid movement there.
I'm here on my phone because my laptop has just given up. I missed what you were touching on there. What were you talking about?
You wouldn't have liked it.
We were talking about Dave. We were talking about how good you would look with a top knot.
The top knot.
Yeah, grow up one of them if you want to hide that fucking.
One of those, Dave.
There isn't enough hair growing at the back of my head to make a top knot.
Grow it out, you definitely have enough. Put the head down there. Let me see. Give me a tilt.
I don't have enough anywhere. I've got.
You definitely have enough. All you need is enough on the sides to bring it up.
You can do that, Dave.
I think my stream might just freeze again. The hair flagging. Now we were meant to have Alan from Jumparas as a guest as well tonight, but there's no sign of Alan. He got a gremlin. So we'll keep Leon and Ashley on a bit longer. We were meant to have live music from not live music, but a pre-recorded little bit of music. Obviously, because I'm on my phone, I'm going to have trouble trying to get that. So that left banded. So supposed to be just keep about the Great White Street there. What beer are we at the moment?
So Dave, we're
still on Cashmere.
We're still
the peach good.
I'm not a soul.
Sean needs to catch up. He's actually slowing the train down. Ashley and
Where are we at? Monksland?
Yeah, let's get the monks out.
Yeah, we
And, let Sean talk us through the Monks Island and us off about this unusual bell yeast stout.
Don't mind me. I'm going to drink it straight from the can as well. I grew up drinking from cans.
I didn't get it. So I'm going to...
Actually, that's actually a very, very good question. And we can have it to the Barstools as well before we go on. And it came across from Black. So Roland has asked us, when and where was your first beer consumed that you can remember?
When and where I can remember, I think I do remember by the pint. It was a bar in Ballyman. I'm not going to mention the name of it. It's not open anymore, but
You're probably 12.
no, I was about 15, 16.
Underage.
Yeah.
They were serving mug shots at the same time as well. Do you remember them, Yokes? Mug shots.
I wasn't across at that point, so what's a mug shot?
Dave, you sure you remember mug shots?
Mugshot, a big party breezer, bloody things to do that.
Kind of, yeah. It's grand if you're a 16-year-old Gasson who never drank a pint before.
I worked in a nightclub and the question used to be from the manager. He said, and he said, he's going to get a big hearty breeze, please, and a pack of potatoes. And he's answered back like an orange, a lemon, and I won't give you the last one, but you can make it up your own, citrus. You put one of the word in. That was a given. But, awful stuff. Because
and Leo and Ashling, where did you drink your first beer?
I don't know. Someone's house? I don't know.
I have a vivid memory of this place, and I'm from the dock on the border, and I remember going in on a Saturday with a few of my friends and my brother. We ended up in this. We were told about this pub that was infamous to let drink anybody in the door. I think we were 14. We went in, all of us, and we were drinking no pub. But the pub it was an IRA pub, right? Dodgy as fuck, right? Dodgy as fuck. But anyway, it was a tiny place, keg under the taps, for lovely pints. But what happened the week after? Somebody was shot and killed in that pub,
Oh my god.
and then we were like, we're never going back there ever again. And we're like, but no lovely pints. It's like, no, we can't get shot in that pub.
How did you afford pints when you were 14?
Mommy gives you drivers when you're 14.
Multiple pints.
Yeah.
Pints when I was young for that. Oh, they were probably like
14.
£2.
Have you ever been on?
Like when younger, you were given lots of money.
Sorry for the
You could sell.
That's true.
on,
We have no expenses.
John White.
What?
Dave,
ever been
what
on-
are you saying?
One of the Tour de Goose weekends in Brussels. You know, when all the juices opened breweries to the public for one day or for the weekend.
Yeah, the Tour de Goose, like we all went. Dave was there, Ron, and there was about 13 or 14 of us, 4 sour heads there, and it was like the sour burps. I'll just go on about it. It was great. Like you were eating Rennies, but the sours you'll never have. So many creeks, so many like.
Like we discovered this stuff.
We were like, Tilquan, this was the sour beer of our trip. That it was, I think it was the first one on the second day, and I remember tasting it straight away, knowing this is the best beer we're going to have. So it's like a peach,
plum.
it's a plum sour,
It's
and it's amazing. Stopped shipping this outside of Belgium for a few years. The last time we had it in Japan actually, and I remember seeing it in the fridge. I go, oh my god, it's there. No matter how much it was, that thing when you get a good sour, no matter how much it is, you spot it, you'll want it. It's like it's just yeah. So,
Except that Nolan got me into trouble in that brewery.
yes, Roman. Because they were talking there in the back, and some Belgian guy was like, "Shut up!"
Yeah,
And
you know,
he was trying to listen to the brewer, you know. But we were there in the back going, "Oh, hungover from the day before and talking shit."
we actually wanted to bring up Alan. Yes, you guys remember that?
Alan was on that Tour de Goose with us as well.
Yeah.
Also, we found a pub called
Le Coq, yes. Oh, the jokes. Oh, the jokes. Yeah.
It's actually so disappointing that we can't have Alan on because we had so much stuff to bring up about Alan. Besides the baguettes, there's also moments that we needed, like Alan needed to describe what happens down at the Shaky Bridge in Cork. I don't know what he did when the Shaky Bridge was out of operation, but on another note, Alan can actually tell you how to escape your better half by climbing a window at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, but I mean, we were trying to help people out, but now he's gone. So we'll try to get him back on at another time. I don't know where he is.
I'll probably buy a new laptop or something in the meantime, or do something with my laptop. Jesus, crazy gremlins. I suppose we're almost coming to the end of the show, Sean, are we? At this stage,
Yeah, sure.
We still got to touch on the. We've done the. We've touched on the monk stout yet. Have we talked to the monk stout?
Not yet. So,
Yeah. So I suppose, look, we probably underestimated the size of these cans. We're going to have to try and drink all these beers. I suppose while
You're serving cans long enough. You should know they're 440.
yeah, put them in half the next time, or encourage people to share, or open glasses in 4, 5 halves. Three would have been loads, really, to be honest. And even a 3, it's an hour, you know.
Two in an hour.
Yeah. You want to? I suppose anyone who's probably going to, like, in the next 20 minutes or half an hour, get into the Peach Berliner or get into Down to Earth. Do you want to talk about that a bit? The process.
Yeah. We talked about the Peach Berliner a little bit, I think, and
yeah.
Down to Earth.
So let's
Everything
move on to Earth.
Down to Earth is, we left it a little bit longer. left it all in stainless steel as well, so it's all kind of lactobacillus, Brettanomyces, and I think our saison strain that we were using at the time, we got all our yeast from bootleg biology in the States. Just left it and then canned it, so we let it sour.
Why?
Down there.
I'm a layman, but why do you leave it longer? Like, what's gonna is that achieving with the wild yeast and stuff?
Yeah, with Brettanomyces, you're looking for a little bit of the Brettanomyces character. Like if I did a 100% Brettanomyces fermentation with I think it was called Brett. It was a Brett Pale Ale with Idaho 7, but a 100% Brettanomyces fermentation straight off the bat kind of didn't give the fermentation profile we're looking for. But the longer you leave them, basically, the more they evolve.
Have you made contact with the I think there's another lad. I think they're in Tipperary, Canvas Brewing. He also
Canvas, yeah, the lads they were up in the brewery, yeah, nice lads.
Yeah, he seems like a very nice guy. He's kind of doing it as a side hobby as such at the moment. Like
I think he has a full-time farm, so he has enough shit to be worrying about. But I wouldn't be throwing a brewery on top of that. But
while we're talking about,
look, sure, it's grand. Like, I mean, if more lads are trying to get into this sort of brewing, like, why not?
I think he thinks the closer you lean in, the better your reception is.
I'm on my phone. I give it up, and you can see the top of the broad head. That was your head, was it? So I only wanted to briefly about land and labour. You did something with them, yeah?
With Canvas, no, we did something with land and labour.
You've done a collaboration with them or something. That's coming out soon. Next, it's in the tanks.
Yeah, it's been in the tank since last March. So, well, it's been in the barrels since last March. We're hoping to release it.
The top secret.
Not top secret, like I can tell you about it. We just don't know when we're going to bottle it or release it. So,
what's the style?
It came from Tom has fooders and in labour, and he brought down his yeast. They're actually his barrels as well. So in fairness, it was like a starter package fucking sour setup for me when I was kind of using stainless steel. And he got me set up, gave me the yeast to go with it. I brewed it. We kind of talked online about what recipe we'd do and what kind of end product we're looking for. And he sent me down the yeast and the barrels and the racks, and they've been sitting in the brewery for the last year. So.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be running, you know.
Yeah, we want to have it up by Christmas, hopefully. Well, we'll assess it. I haven't actually taken a taste of it in the last 7 or 8 months, so we'll see how it is.
Favor, don't put any lactose in the bottle.
I'm going to add vanilla and lactose.
No.
Yes. To every beer from now on, yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And Sean, can you? I mean, we touched on the Monksland briefly. What the dry Belgium stouts? Is that correct? Or like tell a little bit about that.
Thought process behind the recipe design was less roasted malt, minimal roasted malt, kind of heavy on the chocolate malt, and then use Trappist yeast like you'd have in some of the Belgian beer styles to ferment it with it. So we were aiming for more kind of fermentation on the stout, more so than just kind of normal stout that you get here. I'd be kind of hoping that some of the esters would carry through from the yeast and the fermentation.
I've got
which I think they did.
My that I didn't like it. It was a weird one. My palate adjusted. I kept liking it about by the end of it. I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, it probably wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's a different take on a stout. That's alternative fermentation is what we're all about. So
by bite of it, I wanted more. That's kind of my take on it.
Good. I'll send you down another 12-pack.
Thanks. for next week's
podcast. This beer scene is very fitting to touch on as well, just because it is Friday, and with all the gremlins, this is being a little bit funky. But I mean, yeah, Funky Friday, wild pale ale.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of
Brettanomyces lactobacillus up to 12 months aging as well. And kind of most of our beers went through the same process with the yeast that we had at the time. So we kind of had our yeast strain that fermented everything into a kind of a similar profile. And it's just a wild pale ale.
Is that like? I mean, is that required, Sean? Like to go that long? I mean, if you try to put it out too early, is it what's the result? Is it going to be too thin or?
We'd like to see the fermentation profile where angle of gravity is down to near zero before we put it into cans, and then you will see kind of further flavor. Like it will change when it's in the can as well. Actually.
Yeah. What is it? What is it like? If you brew, like if you put a beer in a can, I mean, obviously it's got its expiration dates. What's the sort of? I mean, does it get better? Like when should you drink it? Does it depend on a style? Does it depend on the yeast? Like what's the story there?
Yeah, with cans we have to do 12 months because the can manufacturer recommends 12 months. I'd like to recommend 5 years in the can, but for the sake of it's not food safety or can safety, I think it's just the can manufacturer recommends 12 months. Like so. Yeah, we could do the same thing. 10 years in a bottle.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I suppose everybody drink cans and you put your beer in bottles and fridges and it won't get picked up.
Yeah, that's it. You have a certain window to sell your beers in. Then, but with some of the stuff we have coming from barrels, I think the plan always was to barrel age program was going to be bottled, and then the stainless stuff was going to be canned. So now we're only going to touching on the barrel age stuff. By the end of the year, you'll see some more bottles coming from White Street, I think.
Okay. And then more good stuff. I mean, it must be quite difficult working from a day to day. Basically, stuff like you're like traditional brewery, say an IPA, and getting back to a brewery like that. They're putting out beer like in 2 weeks or whatever. Yours is a real waiting game for specials, you know. And
yeah, that's why I think that's why we kind of had to shift a little bit. In the beginning, we started with 4 different aged beers coming from 4 different tanks, and then there was demand for that, so we were sold out, and then we were sitting on nothing. So we're thinking, I love saison. I have a saison the whole time.
Yeah.
So then we changed one of the tanks into making saison the whole time, and then we said, yeah, we'll chance an IPA because people like IPA. But we're doing it a little bit differently, so we're still can conditioning and stuff like that. And, okay, the IPA is selling well, so we might keep the IPA, and we're kind of slowly finding more. We're kind of easing ourselves into the core range. If
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ballymahan, in your own town there. What's the go-to local?
All they drink is IPA. Cashmere nearly sold out again this evening.
Because if I walk into a bar in Leitrim and ask for one bar in Carrick-on-Shannon, I'm looked at like I'm speaking a foreign language. I mean, yes, I am a foreigner. I understand that. But, I mean, it's almost as bad as going down into Paddy the Farmers. I'm ordering a 9 White Stag, and the girl behind the bar asks me, do I want ice with it? No, I don't want ice with my fucking beer.
It's poor training from the staff. But what was the name of the bar that was in the Carrick-on-Shannon? I think it was a Carrick.
It was
Barrel
the bar
House,
that they've now joined up with Brew. It's the same.
Is that bar still there?
The bar is still there, but they've now joined up with Brew. The brewer went across the Brew, and that's kind of how. If you look at Brew Homebrew, they've got like 2 different ranges. They've got their street art series, which is all the white cans with like different animals on, and then they've got that like Haus range. I'm not sure of the differences behind it, but yeah. Anyway, well, Dave's back again, I think. Oh, the barrel store. Actually, yeah, Brendan sort of popped up. It's the barrel store. But I mean, that's the thing about there's
Barrel store, that was it.
Yeah, there's a gap in the market there to have a brewery tasting for a stag night house because you guys are closer from Leitrim, from Dublin. You'll get people converging on a bar. I mean, you probably don't want that, to be honest. But I mean, that's why everyone goes to Carrick. Is just for a stag night, where it'll be a hens do with stag night. So, if you ever want that, there's an opening in the market.
Leon, last year we're kind of leaving you out of it there, it's not, but I mean, you could probably see my jugs now. They're a bit bigger than yours, you know. I couldn't show you earlier, but that's one of mine there. That's my.
I thought we're still talking about Ashley's jugs. Gee.
Yeah, that's my.
How long do you have to be drinking in the beer house to get one of these?
That's the Cantillon one. Yeah.
That's my one tiny jug.
They're small, Cantillon. Do you remember the night we threw White Hag Header Sour, which that's about 7.5%?
Yeah.
It was on tap. Kept filling. I got the Cantillon jug. It was only about.
Jug never emptied. Yeah.
Kept filling it 4 or 5 of a sudden. It was like, fill it. I had to get a train home. I was absolutely banjacks getting on the train, like almost missed the train. Whoa!
It was the best night of my life.
Endless sour. Endless sour.
The following day.
7.5% sour, like pints of lager.
Yeah, the following day, the heartburn was just unbearable.
Sean from White Street, like, you're obviously clearly into your sours as well. I mean, is there a Belgian lambic or sour that you would go to when you're not drinking your own stuff that you would kind of say, like a Boone beer or that you go, wow, that's my go-to beer?
Land and Labour.
Sorry, is it Land and Labour? Yeah, but is there anything in Belgium?
We don't have to go to Galway. We don't have to go to Belgium. We have the stuff in Galway.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, is he like touching on Land and Labour? Is he as close a lambic producer as there is outside of Belgium?
Is he? Say that again.
Is he as close a lambic producer?
Yeah, everything he does. Yeah, he has a cool chip. Everything is he replicates the exact production that they do over there. So, and he's precise about it too. Like so.
I'd say if you did a blind some of his stuff, Belgian goose drinkers, and told him that drinking a Belgian beer, an Irish made lambic style beer, they probably couldn't tell the differences.
And he'll be on year 3 maybe at this stage because he's been fucking cool shipping for the last 3-4 years, like, and blending stuff and releasing small bits and pieces. But he's like the original Irish Belgian cool ship.
It's stunning.
He's the inspiration, man.
If you can get it,
Yeah. I find that's the problem with his stuff is you can never get it. Like Bradley's might have 6 bottles and that's it.
Yeah. I'm on the list as well in the beer house, and I get 6, and like I'll be selling the stuff at bar price. I'm sure like fellas aren't going to drink it versus off license price. But even at off license prices, I'd be a little bit more expensive. But like I know like what he's selling for so rare as well. But it's another level. Like, niche.
That's the top level. That's the top level of what we have in Ireland. He is that's the kind of shit we're aiming for.
Yeah. I mean, actually, in fairness, we had the Power Fest about in, I think, what year was that? I think around the year you opened, back in 2019. He would have had cool ship years before that and stuff in barrels. He would have been well ahead, like. Yeah, I got a creek off you. Remember, it was like 6 foot. Was it a 6 or it was like 10 liters?
That was could have been the pomegranate. Called the red berry.
Yes, it was some sort of creek in me. And, one of your first releases, that creek was absolutely stunning, you know.
Yeah.
And I said to the lads that were like the sour heads of that, said like I've only got 10 liters of that. I think the beer lasted about an hour on the bar. And I said, it was probably like 6.
That was my first ever keg to release to a pub that had us on tap, and I wasn't even down there to fucking taste it.
Yeah. But
And it was only 10 liters in a key keg, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, like, I mean, there are sour heads, like, and geez, like, it was just like a new Irish sour brewery. The demand was massive for it. Like, and it was just.
I have another the same brew aged again. This time I have 60 liters, so I might get 16 liter kegs of it, but it's not palm. What do you call the things? Fucking the red berries, elderberries.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was an elderberry. So yeah, mixed fermentation elderberry.
But I mean,
When you-
we're gonna promote you. Fantastic, but I personally like it.
Sorry.
I mean, I think sour beers, gay, stout, I kind of go to. But there was a time I drank nothing but sour. I mean, and like, I mean, I'd be well into my Belgian sours now, and like some of the stuff that comes out of Ireland, some of the Celtic sours, but like some of your stuff. Wow, like Sour Riviera, that was a fantastic beer as well.
Yeah, the beauty of all those kegs, we still have fucking lots of them, man. We're aging them. Those sour key kegs, they're going to keep. When pubs reopen, pubs that need sour kegs, we're going to have them. And they're going to be even better than they were before. So.
Everybody blew them out. Everybody brewing IPAs and trouble.
No, it's not going to be our sour IPA.
Tom Andrews saying he missed the guy's name in brewery. Now, I don't know if he's meaning Sean and 5th Street, but was there a brewery that was mentioned?
Oh, Land and Labour, was it? Is that
Land and Labour. Might have been that. Here's a quick question, though. What are you drinking at the moment? Like, what's in your home fridge? Are you drinking your own stuff, or what are you drinking?
Usually I take home cans that are kind of not fit for sale and drink them myself. But no, but if we're out the whole time. When we're heading to off licenses and trying to put our beers into other people's shops, I usually leave with German style pilsners and helles and clean crisp pils and
not sour?
So,
no, boy,
So
lots of
following-
sour as well. Sours are kind of you're not going to buy a 12-pack.
Oh,
so
God.
follow-up question. What's your favorite Irish beer?
Favorite Irish beer? Shit, that's a tough one.
You can give 3.
3, 2.
2, 1, whatever you want.
No, I'm not picking a favorite.
Okay.
Favorite, I'm not even going to ask you to pick a favorite brewery, so that's fine. What's your favorite German beer?
Augustiner Helles.
Favorite Belgian beer?
Answer for someone who's into fermentation. You know? You must have had some.
The Tilcan Goose, not the catch, but the goose.
Nice.
Yes, nice.
Okay, wait, here's a good question from Simon. So Simon wants to know, what are your 3 least favorites? Now, we probably touched on this, anything with lactose or whatever. But what were the... Nah, we can't even ask you that. We can't ask...
Did we touch on that,
Simon,
no?
We can't do Huh?
Don't think we touched on that enough, to be honest.
Well, I mean, look, do you want to admit, like, what your 3 worst beers were of 2021? Or, yeah, 2020.
No.
I didn't think you would. I was trying to help you there.
No, I'm not mentioning anyone.
This is already turning into our
Right.
podcast already because of the size of the cans. We underestimate the fact that we're not trying to.
I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, lads. Whoever wants to use lactose can use it. I'm not mentioning their names.
Shall we tell them what's in their hands? Or, you know, if anyone who's watching and wants to move on to the last beer, we're going to say you're going to pick up either, you got 5 in your box and purchase the box. You'll either open one now. You'll either open the Dunkirk mixed fermentation or you'll crack open your peach Berlin. John will talk about Odin and Brie. I think you're touching a peach dinner already and you've just them slightly.
Let me have a wait there and I'll be back in a sec, yeah?
Yeah, go for it.
Sitting here for an hour.
Me too. Yeah. I'm also desperate. But I'll wait until Sean comes back. Dave, what we did miss was the questions that you had for Leon and Ashley. So let's have a little bit of a brief rundown there. Leon, were you showing me the zap sign, you dirty fucker?
I was scratching my nose. That's how I scratch my nose.
That was a very special shout out for someone called Ronan Russell.
This is for Ronan Russell. Anyway, sorry. You're back.
You know what? Now, I'm busy trying to see if I can get Connell's video up at the end here.
Yeah, well, I had a question.
Connell's clap.
Sean's away now, so we can probably ask this question. But, like, Ashley, you're a big sourhead. We know that. Leon, you spent a bit in Belgium, so you love your Belgium. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons I thought have these two lads on. They like their Belgium, they like their sours. Like, he's not here to for question. Where does White back up? Answer before he comes back in comparison to sours and good Belgian beers.
Because you haven't been around for a while, like, you know, that blended quality you would get from like 2-3 year blends sour. And that and they we're getting now. This stuff tends to be a bit raw, but like you have that astringent, you have that real puckering sour flavor, that real smack that, you know, all really good sours, if they have that, when you get the couple of years and they're blended together, you're really good beers then, you know?
But are we talking chocolate cheese then? Like, I mean, compared to like these dynamic producers around for what? God, how many years? Like, someone probably
but it would.
You know,
Belgian ones are different, like, aren't they? They are a different category. It is like the goose stuff. Like it is different to any other sour from any other region.
Yeah, like the Belgian stuff. Like you have your goose and you have your creeks. That's really the two like Belgian standards. Like I don't see anybody in Ireland trying to do a creek at all. Like and that's one thing I would love an Irish brewer to have a good whack off. Is a proper like creek, you know.
I have a Berliner from Draft. It's one or two eggs done. Is that what you're talking about? You're back.
Back again.
Yeah, I was telling the last peach Berliner. I have it from Draft. It's one of the two kegs that you said at the whole. That were.
Did I sent you down kegs of it? None of those kegs have ever been breached, and there's only 3 kegs out there, I think. You have one of them. Beer House Galway has the other, and I'm not sure who the third one has.
I mean, I better start drinking something because the lad that works for me, the lad who's mad for the t-shirts, John. I mean,
Yeah.
Of course, well, he shouldn't be, but he comes in most evenings there, and he's like, "Come for a cup of coffee." Comes in for a cup of tea, and before I know it, it's the peach Berliner.
Yeah, I did. Like we designed that beer for last summer, and summer came, and summer was a little bit different, and the beer was kind of aging. But there's a lad that comes up from Cork actually with the fruit, and he gives us a text whenever he's heading towards the Midlands. Tell him I'm heading towards the Midlands. Do you want anything? And then we say, yeah, give us 100 kg of peach. Fuck it. We'll throw it into the beer there and see what happens. It's a beer we weren't sure what to do with. It needed a bit of fruit, like it had a little bit of sourness, but it needed something as well, like.
So I'm just seeing a comment there from Crunchy Pat saying anyone doing a Pharaoh, but they can fuck off because Pharaohs are fucking vile.
Old beer cell do the Pharaoh. It's proper sour Pharaoh. That's the only Pharaoh.
It's like
Pharaoh. They're horrible.
It's like you took a sour and you made it sweet, and it's like, why would you bother do that?
That's
it's so disgusting.
Yeah,
that's like if you go back to when we ran Tour de Goose that time back in 2015. those like lambic producers, some group got caught out. If they saw goose on the bottle, it didn't mean eau de goose. Or so they picked up the like this is sour. This is sweet.
Yeah. And like
did you go with a whole crew from Cork? Like?
It was about 14.
With a couple of the lads, they said, "Who's coming?" Before we knew it, it was like 13 or 15.
I think it was 14. Yeah.
It's been put back here.
That's a good gathering.
It was class.
It was
really class. It was really good crack. But like a lot of the Lindemans ones as well are a bit gross. They're kind of sickly. They're not. They're just not. Yeah, it's on the sweet side.
It's every 2 years. In 2020, put back a year. That happened in 2022. We don't know.
Stick me on the bus for the next one.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you will not be sorry, because like it is a bit of a bender, but at the same time, if you have sour head there, it's literally like you're tasting going, this is amazing, and you'll taste stuff that you've never had, and you've only got sour head there. So like, you know, you've no dickheads talking shit up, going, oh, this is great, because they don't know it.
Sour dickheads talking shit.
Yeah, exactly. Sour dickheads.
And everything is served in jugs. So, you know, there's just lots of innuendos about jugs.
Jugs, yeah. Yeah.
What's not to love?
I drank, on average, you were drinking sours for like 9-10 hours a day. Like,
that's hard.
Into a bar at the end of the night. It was called La Coque. We mentioned that earlier. We didn't realize translate it to the cock. I went up to the bar, I couldn't sour, and they triple caramelized, Gouda Carolus, and there was a lager, some lager on Stella or something. I just said, give me a triple caramelized. And to this day, it's the best beer on tap I've ever had. But they were so well poisoned that it just tasted like absolute nectar. More and more of it. I came back, and 2 weeks, about a week after, I took a bottle home just to see if it was good. No. Just disgusted myself. It's grand, but it was obviously because sour wasn't hitting my stomach. It was like, my body.
Do you not find you'd find yourself drinking more kind of pilsners and lagers if you're at a sour festival? Do you find that? No, kind of in between. You might have like a 250ml sour and then 5 lagers. And then back into another sour.
I sort of have a rotation where it's like it's a heavy stout, then it's a sour to strip all the flavor, then an IPA to burn my palate, then back to a stout, and rinse and repeat. You know, that's sort of the way I go.
You're such a wanker. It's all sour or.
All men are wankers.
Exactly.
All men have the tools to be wankers, should be saying. I've one question for you. So, did you just homebrew at home, or did you learn to brew?
Yeah, I started off as a homebrewer. So I was homebrewing for about 5 years, and then kind of shifted from trying to brew every style under the sun into learning what Brettanomyces and sour beer was, and learning how to make sour beers, and kind of focusing on that. And
yeah, and what kind of kit did you have at the start? Was it very focused, or did you spend a bit of money at the start when you were trying to brew?
Just to say that again, I can't. There's a bit of a crackling.
The equipment you had at the start, was it very rudimentary?
Oh yeah. Extremely rudimentary, yeah. Pots and pans, and you scale up from pots and pans into kind of 30-liter plastic versions of pots and pans, and then eventually kind of get an all-in-one system, and then eventually get a 1,000-liter system.
And then it kicked off after that, then, yeah.
Yeah, they had, like our brewery is basically a scaled-up brew kit too, like, so it's it suits me and what I know, and I know how to use it. So
yeah. So you'd spent the time, especially scaling up. You know, they always had problems going from 100 liters to 1,000 liters, and I don't know. Yeah, you spent your time doing that.
Yeah, there's just more chemicals and more powerful pumps and a hell of a lot more.
What size?
You've got an invite there, Sean. You got an invite by Carla. You guys need to come with us to Carnival Brettanomyces in Amsterdam for a real style. You heard of it?
Carnival Brettanomyces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where all the best wild and mixed fermentation breweries go every year. And we've been going there for the last 5 or 6 years.
Oh, so you've been going?
Yeah, we started off as home brewers, bringing over our home brews and kind of sharing it. There's a little homebrew market at Carnival Brettanomyces where home brewers kind of share and drink.
Fantastic. So, Carla, you just weren't getting around enough when you were over there because Sean was there.
Carla was there with me. She's in the next room.
Yeah.
No, but it's a savage festival. Like you'll have Chester King, you'll have all the big fucking sour dudes from the US over there.
Simon wants to know, can he come?
We're all going. I think.
What time of year is it on?
I mean, if we were going down to the Shaky Bridge,
Usually on summer.
forget
And it's
about,
always a good excuse to go to Amsterdam. So
forget about Belgium, Amsterdam.
We don't even
Like the Shaky Bridge with a couple of cans now. I think we'd probably get a load of people involved if the restrictions were lowered a small bit, you know. 6 or 8, you know. A couple of Atlantics under our arms and drinking, you know.
no, but this year we were supposed to go and meet the dude in Fantôme. You know the Fantôme Brewery? I think it's kind of East Belgium. We were supposed to go and meet him before we headed off to, and then go to Brussels and do the tour of Brussels and then head off to Amsterdam. But that was 2 years ago nearly at this stage. No, well, it was last year. But it will be 2 years by the time we get there.
Mad how you lose a year. Crazy.
Yeah. Or 2.
It might be quicker to actually fly across to the UK and get a vaccine than it is going to be to get one here at the moment.
Go over and get 2, 3, 4, get 5 for the 5.
For a fiver, and I got one for your granny on the way out.
Actually, that was one of the things. I think the state was Maine, New England, and they had like a law that if you accompanied an older person or that to the vaccine, you could get the vaccine. You can just imagine, you find it like a little old person on the streets and be like, "Oh, hello, how are you?" And you make best friends. And next thing, jab me.
No, we're not stealing old women to go and get free vaccine.
Speak for yourself.
Big day out. Like go start knocking on old age homes. I'm your grandson. Oh, I thought you were dead. No, I'm here.
I think, lads, at this point, we've gone into the 1 hour and 47 minutes. I think we've all probably had enough of this.
We're going to need some serious editing now at this stage.
There's 21 dedicated people in Cork still watching you, so I don't know. Maybe that's Sean with his 3 laptops, which is causing trouble. But the
200 fucking devices logged in.
With on behalf of the Housewives Live, what we call it, Facebook Live. Sean Conlon, thanks a million for coming on tonight. Sorry about all the.
Can I correct you on how to pronounce it?
Yeah, give us the pronunciation.
Coollahan.
That's like the
But there's no U. How can it be that? There's no
U in it. Coollahan.
All right, we'll just call it John White Street. It's a bit like you on the bottom. It's easier. Thanks a million for coming on, lads. You kind of saved the show.
Thanks for
having us, lads.
Get the jugs out.
Anytime you want to
Get the jugs out for the lads. Get the jugs out for the lads. Get the
Jugs out for the lads. Listen, guys, we'll be back next week. 2 weeks' time. We're going to be doing raw scores. Stay tuned on the social media. there will be another box going out. We've got 3 beers lined up from Rascals. 2 of them are new releases. So yeah,
I got info on them today. I think they are, one is named Bruce. I'm gonna get them wrong. Bruce and Betty, and they're gonna. I think one is an IPA, and I think one is a Pilsner of some sort, and the other one is one of their flagship beers, Happy Days. That box will be available through the Beer House website, available to pick up in the bar. We'll work out the pricing on it, and actually, for anybody who's watching who isn't from Cork, you'll actually be able to get that box from the Rascals website. The Rascals are going to put I think it has to be a bit bigger box. They have to do 12 cans, but you'll be able to get a bigger box of the cans we were doing for the Rascals website. So we're trying to reach out to people outside of Cork, you know.
and we'll sort out all the tech issues by next time, guys. We apologize for that.
Never will, lads. Never will.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, guys. We have loads of fun.
I had all my everything ready. I had a lovely picture of Julian. I can describe it. It was the other pictures on social media of you it's in white hag, with your hands, and you're kind of like taking this holy like wide. I don't know what.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I had that for you. You escaped that.
I think we can put that on the Beer House account, can't we, Dave? That's just for everyone. The 22 people who are watching. We can put that on the Beer House.
Alan didn't show up because he didn't. I'll probably put a couple of naughty pictures of Alan up as well on his. Alan apparently is such an Alan. Alan is tearing his floor apart. Apparently he's got a massive. He was telling us last night to pick up a couple of White Street beers, and he's got a massive hole inside in the bar. They're replacing the beer lines or something. So probably inside. He's probably fixing the hole or something, or falling into the hole.
How's he getting on? I think he's redesigning the whole inside, like so.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I think the keg room, and now they're talking about like this is the time we have to really do it because we're closed, you know.
Yeah. A lot of people should be. Now is the time for everybody who's kind of been talking about have to do this with our bar. We need to do this. We need to do this. Now is the time to do it.
The thing is, they don't have money. So, you know. Yeah.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway,
it's fucking hard.
Ashleen, thanks a million. Sean again.
Thanks for having us on.
Guys. Thanks very much.
You want to have Sean before we wrap it up?
Final word, no, just thanks a lot for all the support the lads down in Cork are giving us and buying our beers. And the only reason we keep on going down there and the reason you have us on is because people down in Cork want our beers. So keep on drinking them.
Get into the beer house and buy growlers of that keg. It's
exactly
one of 3. Don't get it. You won't get that on draft again.
No.
And you know what? Because we're such nice people, we did the thing last week. We were doing the White Street. Now, in fairness, the people at Cork, you bought 15 boxes, blown away. You might think that's a small number, but I heard numbers today of the neighbouring bar of ours that are doing for the Easter Fest. I won't disclose it, but their numbers were like not even. They're like we need to do as many as we are. But that was good. So like if we could just say, lads, look, thanks a billion for your support, and because of that, what I'm going to do is we're going to extend the free delivery just on the box that we did there. We're going to extend it for another week at least. So anyone orders beer, any description from the beer house, if you're within 10 kilometers of the beer house, we'll drop it at your door. You might not get it on the day, but you might get it the next day.
Fair play, lad.
And Sean, Hopcraft and Ale, thanks a million as always. We'll sort out the technical issues and we'll launch you guys. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for having us on.
Lads.
Thanks,
Chat to you soon. We'll log in for the next one anyway. So
definitely. Cheers, pal.
Thanks, lads.